Okay, this is part 2 of Abe and Ella Uncut. It's been a year since this broke in the media. It's been even longer since they were taken, as you'll hear in these heartrending recordings with Ella. It was September 2014 these children were snatched. And we're now February, almost March 2016. I said the date wrong in the first Uncut. I said it was the 29th of February. I'm 3 days ahead of myself. But anyway, we're almost at March, so I'm going to play these heartbreaking interviews with Ella Uncut, unedited. There is an edited version, beautifully edited version with visuals, but this is just audio, and I pray that you listen to all of them, even if you need to take them in small pieces. They're just absolutely crucial to the not just the Hampstead case, but to the whole global issue of child trafficking, basically. Forced adoptions, corruption, people of influence placed and infiltrated into every level of the establishment, from the police, the judiciary, the social services, the educationalists, it's just the media. The BBC is all in the news at the moment. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. So here we go, part 2, Abe and Ella Uncut, the Hampstead case.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just going to say a few words and then I'm going to hand over to you. I'd like to welcome everybody to the first video diary, Hampstead Heart to Heart, between myself and Ella. Sometimes Abraham too has played a big part in this, and in conjunction with Happenstance Radio and Hampstead Research. And just to give a brief outline to anybody that's not familiar with this case yet, Ella was on holiday last summer with her beloved little children, 8 and 9 at the time, and the children were acting out for quite a while, and Ella was getting help and not knowing what was the issue. And whilst on holiday, the children disclosed some very serious allegations of not just child sexual abuse, but Ella will go into more details, very severe abuse by their father and in their school, including the priest attached to the school, teachers at the school, parents, and so on. And what became apparent was there was a pedophile ring operating in Hampstead, and the children had given details. So Ella came back from holiday with her partner, and the children documented everything and went to the police. And unfortunately, it didn't go the way it should have, despite medical evidence confirming and the police at first taking the allegations absolutely seriously. Things went very badly, and the children have been in state custody for 9 months now, and Ella had to leave the country and is in exile at the moment. So I'm going to hand over to you. On this first weekly connection, we're going to just get an update on how the children are, and questions can be sent in. We'll connect once a week, and Ella and Abraham will do their best to answer any questions they have to hide. So over to you, Ella.
Thank you so much, Angie, and thank you for your time, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to voice this situation, and also to update people on what's going on, and hopefully help other people as well, and other children, to spot this crime, which is in fact going everywhere, and the scale of it reached unimaginable level, I would say. And you asked about, you mentioned about me giving some updates on how children are now. don't have much information about my children. The local authority ignore our requests and our questions in regards to children well-being. The latest information I had from social services, actually it wasn't sent to me, but to Russian consul, saying that they've been transferred to the third family. The contacts been
Okay.
family since about 4 months ago.
Sorry,
So I have no idea how my children are, whether they are right. And, sorry?
So when did you last see the children? When was the last time you saw them?
Sorry, Angie, you've broken up just then.
Okay, I apologise. We just hope this connection lasts. If it doesn't, we'll reconnect. When was the last time you saw the children?
The last time I saw children was, when was it? It was beginning of December, I would say. Beginning of mid-December. That was the last time I saw them. And this is when I, gave them some presents, some Christmas presents, and that was it really. What is it? We're in June now, so it's 5 months now, isn't it?
6 months ago. That's terrible. And how long the children were taken from you? Not long after they disclosed, and you went to the proper channels. So how did they seem on the last time you saw them? Were they able to communicate? How were they when you saw them last?
Well, children, as you can see, they're clever children, and they actually learned it very quickly. That they realized very quickly that police, even in one of the private interviews with our friend, she is saying that police doing nothing, and it was quite disappointing to them. We were talking about that, and in fact was thinking to leave the UK. However, we got tricked with they came to my house unannounced, like six people, some policemen and some social services, and they said that they want children to attend for more interviews and medical examinations. So we thought that they actually are now taking it, they're taking actions now, where in fact they already agreed 2 days before that. There was a strategy meeting the 9th of September with police participating, social services, and some medical people as well. And there they decided that someone suggested that I have mental problems, and they decided to take children into custody then. So on the 11th, we went for the second interview, and took both of us in the same building, and Gabriel already been interviewed, so I haven't seen him after the interview. As you can also hear from that interview on the 11th, where Steve Martin is interviewing Gabriel, there is a phone call in the background where social services already on the way to collect children. And they told us that due to the serious allegations, they're taking children to custody. And as well because they learned about this information that Abraham tapped them with his spoons. So that was it. It was 5 or 6 days after the initial report to the police of this crime.
And you were tricked into bringing them, which you thought was for an interview, which was a positive thing. The children were tricked because they were not given any notice. You're going to stay. You're not going home with mummy. Oh my goodness.
Of course not. They knew that we're very suspicious about anybody being involved in this case. We were suspected that what we're up against, and it's just what happened. It proved that we were correct in our suspicions, but we trusted them. We trusted Abraham's brother-in-law as well, who we approached in the beginning, and who was also a policeman. So we trusted that there are good people as well in the police force. What we didn't realize that the all key positions, especially to children, they've been taken by the cult members and all their servants.
Okay. And after that, you only saw them once every 2 weeks, just for what, an hour or something?
Yes, it was. No, it was an hour and a half. Was it? Yes, it was an hour and a half contacts once every 2 weeks. However, a lot of those contacts were suspended to one reason or the other. Mainly, social services were consistently coming out with some reasons to suspend the contacts. To the point that I wasn't allowed even to bring their favorite treats, for example, some food. No, they're vegan, and so I've been. They were complaining that there is that the foster care struggling to plant vegan items, food for them. So I was buying every time and take the food for the contacts, their favorite things. And so I even was banned to do that, it sounded so. I'm not to bring them anything at all. Otherwise, the contacts won't go ahead.
And were you restricted? Could you tell them you loved them? Could you give them a hug? Could you play with them? Were you restricted? Were they restricted?
Yeah. Well. Of course, I could hug them, and I could kiss them, and I could talk to them. However, the subjects of conversations were strictly censored. I had to. They consistently gave me new agreements for the contacts to sign, adding new points. What can I talk? I could not talk about. This case at all. I could not mention Abraham. I hardly could mention anything. It was purely about whatever game we played, or school, or I couldn't ask what they're eating, or how they've been treated at the foster care house. So it was heavily censored.
Did the children seem stressed?
They were not visibly stressed. However, after the first contacts they were quite withdrawn, and they were quite careful what to say. There would normally be about 2-3 people in the room, maybe 2 social workers and 1 interpreter. Since we were prohibited to speak Russian. And but the interpreter was there just in case if something would be mentioned in Russian. And sorry, would you ask exactly again?
No, I just asked if the children were stressed. It's a kind of a rhetorical question, of course.
Well, as I said, they were not visibly stressed, but you can tell.
Okay, we're back now. The connection just gets a little bit of interference. Can you hear me now? Just getting set.
I think everybody that's interviewed Abraham and Ella in a year will testify that there was heavy interference with the connections. They clearly were being monitored. So we'll go on to part 2.
It looks like we got disconnected.
Yeah, strange. I hope you're safe where you are. I just to catch people up, I understand you had to move again recently.
Yes, security issues, and I don't know if people know about it, but that this case has been heavily infiltrated by agents, by FBI agents, CIA, MI5 from the beginning. Really, Tavistock agents. So even people who come forward to help, a lot of them Asians, and they would try to entrust, and then they start their little moves, where of course the aim is to sabotage and sabotage the case and discredit us. But coming to the conversation we started, you asked me about the contacts with children and whether how we observed them, how they were. The latest contacts were quite concerning, actually. Even my parents noticed that children were quite stressed and nervous and suppressed. They kept looking at the social workers and looking for if what they say is correct. So it's obviously something's going on. They must have been bullied and brainwashed or what how to behave and what to say.
Yeah.
And so what else? We discussed before we started the interview. We discussed that the situation with other children, and why we decided. What was the main motivation for us to come back to the UK? Since obviously, we knew that the situation is quite serious, and our first instinct was to safeguard the children and not to come back to the UK. However, as the story was told, we learned that there are a number of other children are involved in the cult, and children are being trapped there without giving the choice. They both parents are involved in the cult. And by the way, some of the children are actually foster children, and this is in fact another phenomenon, an incredible and very spread phenomena where children been taken from their natural parents under false pretense or false allegations and given to foster families, members of the cult, and now since we've been all this time we've been heavily researching the subjects, and we're now learning that their agenda is to raise the generation of brainwashed, mind-controlled slaves, satanic army of children who are capable to kill and who desensitized to killing, and that's what we're doing. And sorry.
It's like the child soldiers in war, in Rwanda.
Exactly.
War.
And of course, imagine what's going to happen when these children will become adults.
Oh my goodness.
With this, how they've been brought up, it's crazy, and many of those children do not like what they're going through. That the children told us there are children who actually been already corrupted and got used to it, and
because there's no child will like that. I don't care who they are. No child wants to be raped, sodomized, scared, brutalized, threatened.
Yeah, but this happens here. When children been in blood contains certain chemicals which when they traumatize the infants before killing them. They've been violent. They're violent to them physically. They rape them. They torture them. For example, the age which been mentioned by the children is around between 1 and 3 years old. This is the infants they're taking, right, and sacrificing. So what happens when those infants being traumatized? The adrenaline production is increased in the body, right, as a natural response to trauma and pain, and the product of the oxidation of adrenaline is called adrenochrome. And you remember we mentioned in the latest interview with Will Begin Believe, right? And so what happened when the way this chemical is affecting brain is it causes compartmentalization of the brain, where, for example, certain experiences like violence, like killing, is gonna be stored in certain compartment of the brain. Which is those compartments of the brain are not communicating with each other. All this description fits into disorder called schizophrenia. And even if you go to Wikipedia and search adrenochrome, it does explain you that it causes schizophrenia and delirium and delusions, and also it causes ultraviolence as well.
Yeah.
So what happens when children consume the blood? They've been affected by this chemical, right? So, and together with continuous exposure to the killing and to the extreme violence, getting used to that, and they get addicted to this kind of behaviors as well. So they taking not only they taking their childhood, right? They are completely destroy their lives. They destroy their characters, and they create totally controlled beings. Who's gonna compete anything with what they ordered.
Yeah, I was watching this morning an old video clip. Bill Clinton, President of America, actually publicly apologized for the programs that were researching that MK Ultra in America, and it was proven, and people were compensated it. So even if I think the term it creates, not schizophrenia or maybe I don't know, but dissociation. It used to be called multiple personality disorder, and now it's called dissociative identity disorder. Basically, you're absolutely right the way you're describing it. It's the brain shatters and different traumas are filed in different parts of the personality, and each one can be just like a slave. Each one can be sent out in the field to do exactly what they're told to do. And it's only the grace of God, and I think the good nutrition and Abraham's research that stopped your children going over into that place where it's very difficult to pull them back. I'm very familiar, I'm a survivor of this, so I'm very familiar with that. I know time is short and we're going to keep this about half an hour each week. I know your parents tried to see the children recently, they came especially from Russia again. Can you just catch us up to date on that? And then maybe you'll tell us a little bit about your website and whatever you want to say to just bring this to a conclusion. Thank you so much, and my heart hurts, not just for you as a mother, but for the children. I was thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if somehow they get to see some of these videos?
My parents, but as we mentioned in the previous interview, my parents did arrive, and they've been actually tricked.
Oh, goodness me. this doesn't get any less real. Let me just see if there's a part 3 to that where we are. Oh dear God. God bless Elisa and Gabriel. And all the other children. Yeah, there's a little bit just to conclude. Let's see how long that is. Trying to keep this in manageable sizes. We're up to 25 minutes. Let me see how long the next part is. Let me see. 20 minutes. No, I'll close up this part and finish out that interview in the next part of this Abe and Ella Uncut series. A lot of people that still newly discovering this case, even though it's, you know, over a year, and there are so many other cases that are much, you know, this just happens to be the one that got international exposure. I think there's been millions of views of the children's video disclosures despite the best efforts of the authorities to shut it down. But I know that there are just thousands of children that have been just disappeared away. You know, the mother's gone and reported child abuse, and bang, the mother's discredited, imprisoned or sectioned, or has to flee the country. And the children are either whisked off into care or given back to the alleged abuser. So that's part 2.